don't seem to be the problem. We're making great waves, or great progress in our solar projects around the county. This is benefiting City Willis. Just done a major solar project up there. So, you know, to keep on top of this, it's fine. But I think we need to come back to reality and deal with the issues that we have in this county. You know, frankly, if wave energy is going to be the wave of the future, it's not going to be done, in my opinion, by Mendocino County. You know, we can protect our coastline and watch what's going on, but frankly, I think the future to our electricity salvation, especially on the West Coast, is solar power, basically, and with the vast amount of force we have, I think the cogeneration plants is the future of our electricity, because it's our price of electricity isn't what's putting businesses out of business and disrupting families. It's our price of oil and diesel and gasoline. So, but we've never even sent a letter to our congressman saying, hey, they ought to do something about trying to stabilize the oil prices or do something like that. We've never even sent so much as a note to our legislators on that issue. And we're in the middle of a water, probably our water crisis, even though the feds are going to let us raise Lake Mendocino, that doesn't necessarily mean any of that water is going to be ours, and if it doesn't rain, it doesn't necessarily going to bring any water. So we need to get back to reality and deal with some of the issues. What I'm concerned about here, I've heard more talk in the last month or two about this wave energy than I have about any of our water issues, and that kind of concerns me. Actually, it upsets me. So that's all I have to say on this.
Thank you, Supervisor Pinches. Your comments are always to the point, but you've reached your pun maximum today. So. Other comments from the board?
I have one.
Oh, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To Supervisor Pinch's point, in the 4th District, we are back to reality, because this month, in fact, we will be having a widely publicized meeting on biomass and cogeneration topic. It's the public-private partnership model. USDA is involved. You've got business interests in Mendocino. There's representation from the City Council, and I'll be in attendance at that meeting. And it's a site-specific plan that's actually been looked at. And there's actual momentum, and there is specific information that it looks that it will be feasible in the Fort Bragg area to look at something like this. So we're actually, that's doing it. It's on the ground, and it's going forward. So we're doing it all.
Thank you, Supervisor. Seeing no other comments from the board, I'll invite public comment. I have a number of speaker cards presented already. If you have not submitted one and would like to speak to the issue, please pass them forward, and I'll put them in line with the other speakers. So I'll call the names, and I'll call the next person to be speaking, and please state your name for the record and keep your comments to 3 minutes. First speaker is Tony Orth, please, followed by George Reinhart.
Hi, I'm Tony Orth, speaking for myself, although I've formed a new movement called Renewable Energy and Mendocino Activists for a Dependable Economy called Remade. I have a message of hope for all these decision makers here today, because state law in 1984, when oil reached over $100 a barrel, wrote into California statute the necessary law for community energy authorities, which not only can be JPAs within a county, but also regional within regional areas. It gives all the authority of everything that you can dream of on this issue. It requires a strategic plan. It's the only law that allows you to form a JPA that would actually write the strategic plan. It gives you CEQA authority over energy projects within your jurisdictional area, including projects that have a major impact on energy use within the county. It gives, as decision makers, the appropriate authority to pull for the local interests that we have to on the demands of global warming and the oil crisis that we face today. John, the very impacts of that, I'm seeing probably 25% less cars on the road as I go about the county because of the impact to the pocketbook of the cost of being on the road. So it's already impacting many low and moderate income people. CEA authority was designed specifically to stabilize energy prices for low and moderate income and small business. It allows for private-public partnerships. It gives you full authority for every type of investment process. After you get a strategic plan, you can actually do things like a wave energy project. But you've gone through the strategic planning process. Again, our communities are ready to act. Mr. Delbar was absolutely right. A community energy authority is the appropriate JPA that could then also become the authority for any other powers the state would grant. This is a power that's ready to act upon today. It's in state law, 1984. I had to use a human being to go and find it for us because it's not an electronic form. It's so old. But again, in 1984, we had $100 oil. Well, that's where we're I think it's 107 when I walked in here. So I'm laid out the information for you. As you see, I've started a movement. I'll be back over and over again on this. So I feel I'll have plenty of time to present it. I really think you should assign your staff to look into it and begin work. There's a lot of state and federal and PG&E money out there to do these things. We can get grants, but we need to form the Joint Powers Authority customized for Mendocino County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orth. George Reinhart, followed by John Innes.
My name is George Reinhart, and I very much appreciate the opportunity to speak to the supervisors here. I'm very grateful to Paul Kaler for putting the work in, and I support these proposals. I worked on the forum and the concern in our community, and it was well attended from all the way from Westport. We had a few people from the other side of the hill, but it was well attended. The entire coast was there. It was really a very successful meeting. The concern about local control and local impacts was expressed throughout the afternoon. I'm very pleased to hear from the supervisors today. There are a number of concerns that were expressed in our community. For instance, the impact of WTO accords if we rush ahead and grant permits to private entities without some sort of community involvement. And this is where the public-private partnership that Supervisor Delbar mentioned could play a key role. If we rush ahead, then the next entity, perhaps from Hamburg, Germany, or perhaps from Shanghai, China, can come in and say, we want to do the same thing. So this WTO concern is very big, and the public-private partnership or some of the local control issues that Tony was talking about would speak to that and are very important. Stakeholders that are not represented here, I just want to put in a word for them. They will definitely be taking part in the process if you move forward and authorize the proposals made by Paul. There are energy groups that are very interested in these issues and completely support what Johnny is saying. The issue of energy is one that anyone who has studied this very long feels we should really be getting behind solar. We should be getting behind proven renewable energy, and we should be getting behind issues of energy efficiency. But this concern that has arisen in our community, and I'm glad to see is now being evidenced throughout the county, is very much motivated by a gold rush mentality that is coming to our coast, and we have to acknowledge that. So that's one of the reasons why you're hearing more about wave energy right now, because you're seeing all these permits. But I totally support what you're saying. Solar is the path that we should be pursuing as a county. So I can see that my time is running out. Energy efficiencies. I have a letter here which I will forward to the